presentation. It is titled Public Confidence in Police Following the G20 Summit. The G20 Summit Convention took place in Toronto in June of 2010. The conduct of the Toronto Police Service, as well as the OPP and the RCMP during the demonstrations, has since raised many questions regarding the legitimacy of their actions. The survey indicated that since the G20 Summit, public confidence regarding the ability of the police to fulfill their duties has dropped significantly. Aside from the clear connection between the conduct of police during the G20 Summit and this drop in public confidence, I was curious to find out what, if any, other factors influence public confidence in police. I looked at two main sources of information in reviewing literature on the subject. The first, by Wu and Sun, identified the fact that the causes of variation in support for police is complex and varies drastically from region to region. They go on to suggest that the level of satisfaction and support for police varies by individual demographic characteristics and regional conflicts. I also consulted work by Ashcroft, Daniels, and Hart, which helped rule out certain information that won't correlate with public confidence in police services, such as race and ethnicity. I hypothesized that better economic conditions will result in greater confidence in police. Wu and Sun identify respondents in a higher social-economic class than others are more likely to have greater confidence in police. I also hypothesized that higher levels of employment correlate with greater levels of confidence in police. Wu and Sun identified unemployment as a key factor in determining a measure of concentrated disadvantage. They found that this measure is inversely related to satisfaction with police. My third hypothesis is that older age will result in greater confidence in police. Wu and Sun identified that younger people tend to be more freedom-oriented and are also more likely to engage in risky behaviors where they are more likely to have negative or involuntary encounters with police. I created my index using 3 questions which measure the confidence of the public in the Toronto Police Service, the OPP, and the RCMP being able to enforce law, protect property, and keep public order. The Cronbach's alpha score of .8874 is well above the .60 threshold. Therefore, the indicators form a reliable index. Since I weighted the indicators on a scale of 1 to 4, this produces results ranging from 3 to 12, with 3 being the least amount of confidence one could have, none, and 12 being the most amount of confidence one could have, complete. The mean of 8.28 thus indicates that the respondents had a favorable amount of confidence in the Canadian police services. In measuring confidence in police by household economic conditions, there is no real observable pattern. This fact is confirmed by a very low Candace House C of only .03624, which is well below the threshold of .15. The chi-square test of .00669 indicates this information is statistically significant. However, the ANOVA test of .0554 is high enough that it doesn't meet academic standards to establish a relationship, even if there was one visible in the Tau C score. In measuring confidence in police by employment, again no observable pattern is recognizable. This fact is confirmed with a low Tau C score of only .02154. Further confirming the lack of significance is the chi-square score of .0869, which is above academic standards, as well as a ANOVA F probability of .05928. In measuring confidence in police by age, again there is no real observable pattern. The Tau C score of .0031 confirms that this lack of relationship. Its chi-square score of .00346 indicates that this information is statistically significant, but it should be noted that this does not mean there is a correlation. In fact, the ANOVA F probability score of .6439 confirms that there is no academically viable pattern to recognize. In summary, I found all 3 of my hypotheses to be incorrect. I committed a type 1 error, thinking that a relationship would be found when in fact it never existed. There are several reasons why I think my findings were contrary to my hypotheses. First of all, I made too many assumptions. I assumed that socioeconomic status could be measured simply by household income. Further, I assumed that employment status was enough to measure what Yu and Sun described as concentrated disadvantage, a measure which indexed numerous variables to create it. Another problem I had was that the dataset I used was simply not detailed enough to accurately answer the question I was asked. To conclude, further research is needed to concretely come to accurate conclusions regarding what factors influence public confidence in police. I would suspect many exist, but in order to find them, one would require a more detailed dataset to specifically address this problem.